Salutations, everybody. It is Matty here today, sitting down for a doozy of an Xbox news update. Easily the biggest news to break over this past weekend was the confirmation that Xbox turned down Marvel Games for an exclusive games deal. It's the type of news that you read, you understand, 2020 hindsight, but my God, do I want to pull my hair out reading it. I have some thoughts, but honestly, I may come to a conclusion that will surprise some out there. On top of that, we're going to be talking about Stalker 2, which is reportedly back in development. And last but certainly not least, we're going to get into all the Game Pass unsubscription conversation that happened over this past weekend as well. So if you're new here, ladies and gentlemen, you're into Xbox news and conversations, consider subscribing. Things are going to heat up pretty quickly with the Xbox Bethesda Game Showcase, as well as the Summer Games Fest Showcase. We'll have a lot to talk about shortly. It's been like a Sahara desert out here when it comes to Xbox news, to gaming news in general, to game releases. So hopefully we will all collectively be saved shortly. With that, let's start off with the banger news. Xbox turning down Marvel. Here's the full story from BGC. Xbox turned Marvel down, leading to Spider-Man on PS4 execs reveal. In an excerpt from Stephen L. Kent's 2021 book, The Ultimate History of Video Games, Volume 2, Executive Vice President and Head of Marvel Games, Jay Ong, explains how the company cut its earlier deal with Activision short in search of a better partnership. According to Ong, Marvel Games wasn't happy with the quality of the Spider-Man games being published by Activision, and the two companies mutually agreed to terminate their licensing deal earlier. Absolutely the right call. Everything else aside, I played The Amazing Spider-Man 2, right? I platinumed this game, by the way. I don't know why, what took me over. I must have been consumed by some demon spirit, but I platinumed this game. It is one of the worst games ever made. When Activision started publishing Spider-Man games, for example, they weren't too bad. You got Shattered Dimensions. That was a great one. Web of Shadows is a hidden gem. There were some good ones mixed in there, but then you get like An Edge of Time, An Amazing Spider-Man 2, but then you get An Amazing Spider-Man 1. There was no consistency, and you could tell Beanox, the developers of all these games pretty much, was burning out. So it was smart that they moved on. Here's the rest of the story, however. Ong said that when the deal was made to walk away, Activision asked, "What are you going to do with this IP after you get it back?" To which Ong replied, "I'm going to find it a better home." According to Ong, Activision's reply was, "Good luck finding your unicorn," which is like a oh snap moment. Ong said Marvel Games then went on to both Xbox and PlayStation to see if either of them would be interested in forming an exclusive partnership and asking them, "We don't have any big console deals with anyone right now. What would you like to do?" Microsoft's strategy, Ong recalls, was to focus on its own IP, and as such, it decided to pass on the offer. Sony, however, as we all know, was more receptive. "I sat down with these two execs from PlayStation third party, Adam Boyes and John Drake, in August 2014 in a conference room in Burbank," Ong said. "I said, we have a dream that this is possible, that we could beat Arkham and have one game at least and maybe multiple games that could drive adoption of your platform." Sony reportedly responded by offering to make a AAA PlayStation exclusive Spider-Man game and handed the project to Insomniac, which was independent at the time but considered one of Sony's most trusted partners. The resulting game, Marvel Spider-Man, was widely critically acclaimed and reportedly went on to sell more than 20 million copies, with its spin-off, Miles Morales, selling a further 6.5 million. Yeah, if you're a diehard Xbox fan, I guess this is pain. My personal perspective on it, good. If Xbox got this, Marvel games would never have accelerated to the level I think that they are nowadays, where I'm excited about Spider-Man 2. I'm excited about Wolverine. And for those who don't know, this happened in 2014. So this is right when Phil Spencer was stepping in, head of Xbox. It's when Xbox Game Studios, right now, we talk about the 30-plus teams they have in their first-party stable. It was a whopping 6. 2 of those being, 1, Mojang, Minecraft. They're not going to move off of that. And number 2, Xbox Game Studios Publishing. So it was really Turn 10, the Coalition, 343. It really wasn't anything that could have, I think, developed into a truly exciting stable of Marvel games at that moment in time. PlayStation, who nurtured their first party for many years, or positive relationships here, like Insomniac, that were pretty much second party at that point in time because of how close they were, was able to hand off great IP to trusted partners that they would then acquire for an extreme steal and make one of the most successful superhero games of all time. Nowadays, with the pop culture movement, I feel like Xbox has had time to not only build up their first-party stables, as we have talked about on this channel ad nauseum, but also build up their third-party relationships, where with Lucasfilms, with Marvel, with DC, looking to license these games out because there's money in game development now. You can make a lot of money when you sell a game. That's why I really pushed the pace for Microsoft today to get going on some type of exclusive superhero game. Now, I do wonder to some extent if this was an easier deal to strike because Sony does have the rights to Spider-Man in theaters, and it may have been an easier transition and more appealing partnership there. It's not to say that if Microsoft said, we're game, that this would have gone anywhere. They would have had to have a pitch in mind. I do respect Xbox's desire to build up their first-party stable. I think that's very important in the long term, and it's what kept them around. Again, a lot of people are forgetting in the heat of this news, and I'm not trying to douse the flames because y'all know me. I made a whole video calling it Xbox's one true weakness. No Star Wars, no Marvel, no DC, anywhere to be found on this platform that isn't third party. So y'all know I've been beating the drum on that. However, Xbox was mere years away from being shut down. It wasn't until Phil talked to Satya Nadella and provided a pitch, which we now know is Game Pass, and investing in first-party studios to create an exclusive content library that they have yet to really provide, that then Xbox would be worth keeping around. So they were in the process of proving why their brand needed to exist. Meanwhile, PlayStation, as we all remember during the PS4 generation, was running away with it, right? They were dominant because they were releasing great games, great exclusives. They had great third-party partnerships. They had the superior platform on the tech front until the One X came around, and then things started to even out a bit more. But they ran away with it. So it was easier to do business with them. To me, reading this, it's like, oh, what could have been? But I'm glad that Insomniac ended up with it because Spider-Man from them is one of my favorite, if not my favorite superhero game ever made. It is a dream come true. They were for years my dream developer for Spider-Man. The ability to have the movement that Insomniac had built up for years through things like Ratchet & Clank and Sunset Overdrive, and of course the wacky gadgetry gameplay that we see in Ratchet & Clank, and the free flow combat from the Arkham games. I was like, wow, that would be a triangulation like nothing else. And they did it. And then they created a personal story for Peter Parker on top of it. They did everything I could have dreamed of. To me, Xbox was not capable of doing that at that point in time. Could they have found a way? Sure. Am I going to count them out? Definitely not. I think nowadays they are much more capable with the talent that they own to make compelling Marvel, DC, Star Wars games. But even nowadays, as I have reported, Xbox has shown some negligence to this stuff, and it's why I get frustrated. I've said on multiple accounts, and I'll say it again, I was directly told by sources that have been accurate in the past that Xbox was approached for the KOTOR remake, and they turned it down. And that is crazy to me because that's heritage, man. We're talking about OG Xbox exclusivity. OG. And they turned it down. So to me, the bigger problem is, based off my information, if we're to take that and run with it, is that this problem where they were not equipped for it started at the beginning of the generation and is now permeated into the current gen where it was a third-party deal being handled by Aspyr. Not to say that this is going to be a home run game. This remake, as much as I'm stoked for it, could absolutely suck. But quite frankly, they've turned down things somewhat recently. I don't know when the deal actually was put together, but that's personally what I was told. So to me, that's the bigger problem. It's not really back then when they weren't equipped for it that they chose to pass on it. And PlayStation, the much more equipped party that did an amazing job with it, took the ball and ran with it, and now they've earned more opportunities like Wolverine. It's really just nowadays that Xbox has shown no desire, and hopefully these words age poorly because with the Xbox Bethesda showcase, maybe they'll have more to show for it. But currently they've shown no desire to get involved in those type of IP. I want a Star Wars game. I know we got Indiana Jones in the pipeline, but you know, Star Wars, Marvel, DC. I know some people are very against the idea of like, whoa, we don't want to have a blue Xbox in our house. I don't care. I love superhero stuff. I love Star Wars. That's the type of stuff that sells your box. PlayStation has something going for them, and Xbox has something going for them. PlayStation has borrowed, to some extent, Xbox's idea with Game Pass and innovated in their own ways. Like, hey, putting trophies in classic games, Xbox, hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Maybe for those OG games, figure something out for those. However, Xbox should be taking notes from PlayStation just like they're taking notes from them. Maybe bring some of these big pop culture IP into your exclusive catalog. That would push Game Pass. Anyway, this is a topic I'm super passionate about. I'm looking forward to seeing your thoughts on it. Let's move on to the second bit of news here. I was really pleased to see this, although I just ask everyone to not raise your expectations to these unattainable levels given the state of the world. Stalker 2 is apparently back in development. This comes from Pure Xbox, is where I found the news, saying Stalker 2 development is back underway, says developer. A member of GSC Game World development team has reassured fans that work on Stalker 2 has resumed, following a brief pause due to the events in Ukraine. The comment comes from the game's official Discord channel, which, as you can see here, when asked, so how is game development going at the moment? Is it continuing? To which a developer, as you can see here from GSC Game World, says, it continues. Now, this could be in minor or major fashion, but still, I was pleased to see this. Again, I'm not expecting a ton. There is a war going on. There is more important things than Stalker 2 happening in their lives. So I think they got to focus on themselves first. But it's good to know that work is continuing and potentially they're still shooting for December. I imagine that's not going to be something that they can hit given how extreme the delay was from April all the way to December. But fingers crossed, really pulling for this team. They got all my support. They're going through it all right now and still trying to provide entertainment to the world. That's incredible to me. That's courageous to me. So I'm just excited to see more about this game whenever it rolls around. And again, as I've said before, I don't really put any pressure on this team. They literally are in a position where they have to deliver whenever they can. And it's unfortunate for Xbox fans, but it is what it is, right? There's more important things happening, but I wanted to let people know that it appears development is currently underway, and that is pretty exciting to see because Stalker 2 looks fantastic. It may be a 3-month timed exclusive if we're going to go off what we saw in the Epic Apple court case, so it won't be hanging around on Xbox platforms exclusively for a super long time, but this is a gem, it looks like, so I'm very excited for when this can get into our hands. With that, let's move on to our last, I don't want to call this news, it's more a discussion that really blew up. My boy Gene Park posted a tweet saying that he's unsubscribing from Game Pass. A lot of people came for my man. I don't know why everyone's going for Gene lately, but he's just had a target painted on his back. Now he's saying, yeah, I'm unsubbing for Game Pass, and it's because there's not a lot there for me right now. A lot of people followed suit and said, yeah, I've been really thinking about that as well. I'm not really playing as much nowadays. And a lot of people got really offended, really hurt over this. Again, this is really one of the things we talked about on Defining Duke. That is the product of significant delays. You hurt the service you're trying to build. Xbox knew this when they delayed the games, which is why I think that you got to be a little wary of Starfield, of Redfall, if the Xbox inflicted so much damage to themselves that they were willing to delay them into an unknown window in the first half of 2023, right? They knew it was going to hurt Game Pass. They knew it was going to hurt their holiday picture. They knew it was going to kill all their momentum. They knew it was going to hurt their showcase. Like, it hurts everything. So that's why I think be a little wary of those games, despite the excitement I personally have for like something such as Starfield. You know, we'll see, of course, with the showcase. But right now, a lot of people going for Gene, a lot of people going for all these different content creators, people in the media, because they're canceling their Game Pass subscriptions. For me, I say, okay. I mean, no offense to them. I don't really care. And honestly, value is in the eye of the beholder. If they don't play a lot of games or they're not using the service a lot because they were anticipating the big AAA exclusives, that's why they were signed up for it and everything else was additive to them, then that is not true value in their eyes. Your view of values and their view of values is completely different. Some people sadly don't value indies. I just played and beat Trek to Yomi over this weekend. To me, that was value. That was $20. And the service cost me $15 a month. So right there, money was saved and the game paid for itself. I beat it in 7 hours. I was entertained. It was a solid game. I wasn't in love with it. But for me, that works. I like these indie games. And now I'm going to try out Citizen Sleeper at some point in time. Like, to me, that's the type of stuff I'm about with Game Pass. I love the discovery engine of it. A lot of people are just looking for the bangers. And Xbox absolutely has yet to deliver anything quite like that. Last year, we got a little bit of a taste of it, but now it's not showing its consistency. So some people are going, why am I even subscribed to it? I get it. I've been subscribed since day one because you can check the video. I've been a supporter of Game Pass since day one. I love the ability, especially now with day one Game Pass, for people to kind of cut out reviewers like myself and develop their own opinions, develop their own thoughts, because I think it's healthier for our industry in the conversation space. So I'm all about it, but I get why other people aren't. It's really not delivering crazy things right now. For me personally, if I were thinking about canceling, I would at least wait till the Bethesda game showcase to see what do they have planned for us. That's kind of the tell-all right now for 2022, where we're all sitting there going, they got to deliver. They got to fill some major gaps. How do they do that? How do they respond? But if I were to cancel, or if I was talking to someone who was thinking about canceling, I would just say, wait for the showcase. Play some cool indies right now. see if anything is speaking to you in the second half of the year. If it isn't, cancel and save yourself a couple hundred. Why not, right? Ladies and gentlemen, that's all we got for today's Xbox news and discussion video. Pretty interesting one, that's for damn sure. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below on everything we discussed. Other than that, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram. Those links are in the description down below. And a big thank you to all the patrons, all the members who continue to support the hell out of the content here. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.